They see the loopholes that our incompetent government has created, and they have abused it.
If they don't fulfill any of the demands, there will be a hunger strike to death.
So we have the right to stay here.
We'll keep on striking until our last breath. We wouldn't give up.
I'm here to speak out against what is happening. It's not even about permanent residency. Canada's reputation for being such a soft country has gone global.
It's very hard to get a job in Canada right now. It's very difficult to secure even an interview.
It might be a little harder for the average Canadian to get a job now.
Conestoga made $140 million on tuition in the last 16 months.
And they're working in a minimum wage in a food restaurant. That does not bode well for the country.
Establish yourself here. You bring your entire family over and then get use of all the social services that Canada offers. There's a couple of colleges that the Globe and Mail investigated, and they didn't even have classrooms in them, but they had places to process your immigration file.
We're helping new Canadians succeed and shape our country for the better.
There's a section of the society which is becoming rich off of these loopholes.
The rules were simple. You need to work 6 months, then you can apply for your permanent residency.
Rules were changed overnight and we were not even notified. We were working in sales sector, food sector, and we are now not even eligible to apply for nomination.
Right now I am on the streets of Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. Now the reason I'm here is because immigrant workers have taken to the streets to protest the expiry of their work permits. Recent change in the government's work permit policy has sparked protests over the past week. According to the Office of Immigration, the province is prioritizing skilled workers in high-demand sectors such as trades and healthcare. Individuals working in sales and the service sector may not receive invitations to apply for work permits. The people that have been protesting here are on postgraduate work permits, meaning that they once studied here in Canada and then were permitted to work here for a certain period of time on work permits. Now, we spent the day talking with locals, talking with the protesters, and just getting a better understanding of what the demands are of the protesters and how the locals feel about the immigrants working here in PEI. Is it helping the economy? Is it putting a burden on the economy? Do the locals care? Do they not care? Well, we spoke with them, we spoke with the protesters, and let me show you exactly what they had to say. If you would like to support my independent journalism, head on over to migrantreports.com.
We were here long before rules were implemented, and the reason we are here is because we demand that we need to be grandfathered, as we were unaware that this would have happened. This is the reason why the protest is here.
What would you say to people that claim you guys are just here on a temporary work visa, you don't have the right to stay? What would you say to those people?
So I would say to those people, why were we deducted the CPP, the Canada pension plan, at the very first paycheck? Why are we deducted the CPP on every paycheck after the first paycheck that we are going to get after 60 years of age?
Education, we spend a lot of money to rent as well. So we have the right to stay here.
Everyone is working, everyone is paying tax, so everyone has equal and fair rights to show in this country.
We are not trying to oppose the government, we are just trying them to do the fair thing.
If you think it's temporary, then you tell me one thing. So after 6 months, you guys just use us, right? We work for 6 months, then you said, okay, we cannot give you the PR, you need to go out. So it's like use, right? You just use it to get your work done.
Everybody is targeting that all foreign workers are trying to live here illegally. They are spreading hate messages. And this is what we don't stand for. We don't want nothing for free. We just want them to be fair with us. From our perspective, this looks total discrimination.
First of all, we're having a good support from the city people who are living in the Charlottetown in Prince Edward Island. The people who are living over here, we're having a good support from them.
there's a lot of good workers here that are filling jobs, and it's definitely a good thing, keeps the economy going and stuff like that, but it might be a little harder for like the average Canadian to get a job now.
That we're putting the run to people who have come here to settle, to make a life for themselves and their family, and to enrich our society. To put the run to these people is immoral.
I appreciate what the government might be trying to do, but I don't think that how they did it may have been the best way to do it.
It would make more sense to get people that are skilled to fill positions that we like can't fill, rather than like something that like anybody, I guess, could get a job doing.
If you're going to let the Mexicans or the East Indians or the Asians come here and they're working in a minimum wage in a food restaurant, that does not bode well for the country.
It was the government that convinced everybody to please come because they felt there was a shortage in the workforce, that our population was an aging generations, and this is why they opened the doors, and now it seems like they're turning back.
Yeah, but I think if you look across the country, other jurisdictions have stopped doing this completely or have followed the lead that we've had and then ratcheted back that certain sectors. I say last year in Prince Edward Island, we nominated 855 people for PR through sales and service. The year before that, we did roughly the same amount, just a little bit less. If the industry is doing a relatively good job in terms of retention, that should be a significant number to augment their labor force and to make sure their business is running and being successful.
Immigration remains an incredible strength and force for Canada and for the Canadian economy. Being able to welcome in people from around the world, particularly at this time of labor shortages, is good for our country and good for the future that we're building together.
Look, international students are a credit to this country, Mr. Speaker. They are the future of this country, and they are an asset that is very lucrative.
I came to Canada as a foreign student from India many years ago, back when this country was a much different and nicer place. I'm here to speak out against what is happening.
As requested, we have hidden the identity of the man interviewed in this section of the report. This is not the first time he has spoken out, and he feels it is necessary to bring awareness to this situation.
So what exactly is the purpose of so many people coming to Canada on these student visas? It is best explained here with this immigration flyer. It says that you come here as a student. Once you establish yourself here, you bring your entire family over and then get use of all the social services that Canada offers. They see the loopholes that our incompetent government has created, and they have abused it full throttle. But just last month, the teachers at Conestoga College were complaining that these kids are actually illiterate. They can't read, write, they don't know basic arithmetic. The loopholes here are many, such as attending a shady college and not even attending. There's a couple of colleges that the Globe and Mail investigated, and they didn't even have classrooms in them, but they had places to process your immigration file. Some of these colleges are even owned by immigration consultants. While most of us are suffering in this really poor economy, there's a section of the society which is becoming rich off of these loopholes. It's not even about permanent residency. Canada's reputation for being such a soft country has gone global, and everybody knows that the minute you step foot in Canada, the odds of you being sent home are almost zero. So forget about permanent residency. The idea is just to get into Canada, and if you have children here, they become Canadian citizens. PEI was chosen, just like the prairie provinces, came up with very short-sighted policies that allow people to work at restaurants or hotels and things like that. And they could just work there for 6 months and then qualify for permanent residence after they get their PR. Most of them will come back here because this is where they thrive, in this corrupt Gotham City. We are just seeing the fruits of many years of bad policy.
We've attracted newcomers who bring important skills and the know-how to create jobs and grow our economy.
But now the scale of it is so large, and now none of our children can find jobs this summer.
Can anyone explain to me why the it's so hard to get a job in Toronto?
Many people have immigrated to Canada recently and realized one of the quickest ways to get money and power is to become an immigration agent. And you can see these immigration agents online are coaching students on how to apply as refugees and also how to get politically active. When 700 students were caught with fraudulent papers, the government ordered them to be deported, but they started protesting by the airport and they brought in religious music as if to say this is some religious struggle, and Canadians who are so scared of their own shadows just gave in. You saw all the politicians come out, even Pierre Poilievre, telling these students who came here on a lie that we need workers, we need more young people.
Listen, we have a worker shortage in Canada. We have a demographic problem. Our population is too old. We need 700 young people.
And there's one immigration agent in particular who's been very vocal on social media, and he's fanning the flames. You see kids in Manitoba using this sort of religious messaging around their expiring work permits, and they cornered this Liberal MP who promised to do everything for them. This is the same MP who was just being so mean to Canadians before.
Thank goodness it was that Canadians and the majority of the people in the House saw the value of protecting the health and well-being of Canadians, and that the far right was marginalized back then, Madam Speaker.
And this is how he speaks to these students. He was cornered here like a rat.
We want you to be able to stay in Canada. We can't promise you anything other than we will promise to work as hard as we can, whether it's myself or Malaya, in trying to keep you here in Manitoba.
And then he asked Mark Miller to extend all their visas. They saw what happened in Manitoba. The immigration agents are celebrating it online, and now they're protesting all over the country. When I came here as a student, it was not just to get an education, but to put yourself outside your comfort zone and sink or swim. Even established colleges and universities like Conestoga College in Kitchener have traded in their future and their reputation for short-term gains.
Conestoga made $140 million on tuition in the last 16 months. You know how many international students they brought in? Conestoga's got like two campuses, right? They're like the size of this building, you know? Like they're not huge colleges. 30,000 they brought in 16 months.
Now we have politicians like Tim Opal saying that the language requirement might go away. What has happened? What has happened to our dear country? Just look at him here with Pierre Poilievre speaking Punjabi.
Violent crime Canada ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵੱਧ ਗਿਆ.
They do have the right to stay in Canada until the last day of their visa. There's a reason why the visas expire, because circumstances change, and our government has all the authority to make those changes based on new developments in the economy or new circumstances. Nobody's promised them anything. There's no combination of words in any language I speak that can get through to a person like Trudeau. Does he want to be responsible for a country where women are not safe at night, or on a bus, or in an elevator, or on a train? This is a reality that all the women in my family experienced in India in crowded situations, and now we're seeing it in Canada.
If you was born in Pakistan, originally from Pakistan, you must have been kidnapped by me.
Have been kidnapped by you?
Of course.
A lot of people are trying to figure out why this immigration rate is so high.
For 2024, the cap is expected to result in approximately 364,000 approved study permits.
People new to the country are promised everything in exchange for votes. Maclean's magazine, they reported on how Mark Miller got his seat. He just gave people free Liberal Party memberships to get his seat, and this is what they're doing to the whole country. They're just bringing people and putting them in different ridings to flip them.
Whether it's international students in particular that have grown at a rate far beyond what Canada has been able to absorb.
If they don't fulfill any of the demands, there will be a hunger strike to death from 1st of June, and anything happen to any health issues to any of the Protestant, Honorable Justin Trudeau, Mr. Mark Miller, Province of PEI, Honorable Dennis King, and Economic Growth Minister Jen Redmond should be held liable to any loss and severe health issues to any of the protestants effective 1st June. Thank you.
We don't put the run to people so that you and your generation can get an apartment.
This is a country of opportunity, but it's not a country where immigrants should get sitting in a McDonald's or a Tim Hortons or any of the fast food or a convenience store or a gas station.
We are paying equal taxes, so what we demand? We just demand equal rights. We are just not demanding something for free. We demand fair.
You know, a snowflake is pretty powerless by itself. It'll just melt the minute it lands in your palm. But millions and billions of snowflakes are responsible for the avalanche. I need more snowflakes to speak up. We need to cause an avalanche.
Registered Canadian immigration consultant Kanwar Sierra stated to me via email that postgraduate work permit holders should refrain from engaging in political activism and that protests are not a viable solution. Thanks so much for watching the report, guys. If you want to check out all of our coverage, head on over to migrantreports.com. Through that website, you can check out similar reports just like this one. And if you appreciate the independent journalism that we are providing, consider making a donation through that same website. Thanks, guys.